Hello and welcome to the left wing. So the Ireland team to play South Africa on Saturday has been named. Jemison Gibson Park is back in the team in the only change to the side that started last weekend's win over Tonga. And we've got Dan Sheehan on the bench, as well as Jack Crowley's there on the bench. Rory and Cian are here. Lads, we're at the Ireland team
We're
hotel.
inside for once.
So
we're inside. It's lashing rain, yeah. Things are taking a turn.
Aren't they? But they're well out here, aren't they? The team
We're
hotel's well
we're
outside
miles
the city.
east of Paris. So we all got to train up to Paris, and then we got to train out of Paris again, out to Boussy, which is on the eastern outskirts, in Zone 5 of the Orior network, which is the only goes to 5, the zone. So it's a fair trek. There's apparently a bowling alley next door. The players have already been in doing some 10-pin bowling, so they seem pretty chilled out. Yeah, as soon as they got here, they seem to have done some scouting and straight in for some. They're obviously competitive animals, so
definitely a metaphor in there somewhere about what they're going to face in terms of skittling lads out of their
I'll work
way.
on that for my intro. I've got a long train journey to think about what I'm going to write tomorrow. So yeah, good idea. But we just finished our press duties, and it's a good team, isn't it? Like, I mean,
brilliant team.
Like, I think, I don't know, something about the Springboks and the All Blacks. Maybe it's because they've got nicknames and such proud history, but everyone loses their mind. You know, they swoon when the team is named. I think that's a better Ireland team than the Springbok team that was named on Tuesday, and the bench is pretty good as well. It may not have 7 forwards, but it's got a lot of very good players. I think there's a huge amount of reason for the fans. I think they're talking about 30,000 fans coming over at the weekend, like to come over with a lot of confidence about what Ireland can achieve on Saturday.
Yeah, the press conference was dominated by the 7-1 split, and here's what Andy Farrell had to say.
I think it's great. It obviously suits them. They obviously know their squad and what fits for them, and obviously so do we. I think it's great. I did pose the question to our forwards coaches. We was going to go with a 7-1 split, 7 backs and 1 forward, but they weren't up for that. But I think it shows. They know exactly where they want to go and with their game plan, etc. And we do the same with the subs that we pick as well.
So Andy Farrell on that 7-1 split again today, Cian. He was just so relaxed.
Yeah, and I think that's shared across the board with the players as well. I mean, Andy Farrell knew he was going to be asked about it, and he said that he hadn't even considered it, except he did. What did he say? He asked John Fogarty, could Ireland go 7-1 but with 7 backs and 1 forward? That would have been quite something. But yeah, look, the mood is totally relaxed, as I think it has been all week. I mean, we got a couple of players afterwards as well. You had Bundy Aki and Gary Ringrose were up together, laughing and joking together. Then you had Andrew Porter and James Lowe who were up together, laughing and joking. So the mood, I think, is reflective of what Farrell has been portraying, that, you know, Ireland weren't going to get sucked into. We discussed this so often during the week on different podcasts and videos, that Ireland weren't going to get sucked into the trap of going 6-2. They've never done it before, and now they've doubled down, and I totally agree with Rod. The bench, like the starting team is excellent. I think I wonder if there was a temptation to kind of shift around the back row a little bit, but obviously he's gone with the tried and trusted, and you can fully understand why. But Ireland's bench may not have a nickname like we mentioned the other day, you know, but there is a lot of quality to come off that
Great
bench.
to see Dan Sheehan back.
Like, that is massive, absolutely massive. I mean, Robbie Henshaw to come off the bench, Jack Crowley, who's a game changer. I mean, covers several different positions. I do still think you'll have certain guys like Andrew Porter, Johnny Sexton will go, I think, as close to the 80 as possible, and that is a huge ask, I think, for Andrew Porter.
And that's where the benefit of having a 2-week gap to Scotland comes, because really they don't need to worry about tomorrow. Like, it's like, you know, Andrew Porter going 80. We know he can do it. I think he'll probably go 70, between 70 and 80. They usually get, they give David Kilcoyne a go. And for instance, like, Kilcoyne's a good player, but there's a bit of benefit there. They don't have to, rest players at all. They don't have to worry about next week.
And of course, Jack Crowley, and I saw you talking to your mate Ryan Baird there. He seemed in good form.
Yeah, like, I think everyone expected Joe McCarthy to be involved this weekend. But I'm delighted for Ryan Baird, because I like, he is the closest thing Ireland have to Peter Steph Toy. So like, he comes on, he hits big, he carries big, he's a great line-out forward. Like, I think he's one of, like, I think Sam Warburton flagged him as his bolter for this World Cup. He could be the breakout star of the tournament, and like, he's a physical specimen. We've all become a bit used to him, and he doesn't maybe make the breakout runs that he did when he first came on the scene, because he's more probably focused on his nuts and bolts stuff, but he's capable of breaking a game like this wide open. He's an X-factor player. Now, he does have to do the simple stuff well. He has to keep his discipline. He has to keep his defensive discipline. There are little bits that I think at times he's fallen foul of this management team. They didn't pick him for a year, but he's played in all of Ireland's big games in the last year. He started against England in the Grand Slam game. Some people were getting a bit worried that he wasn't going to go make this squad, but I think he's a really potentially key player for Ireland across this World Cup, because he can run quite quicker than half the back line.
Yeah, he did well off the bench. I think he's waiting for that kind of one moment or that one carry, that one tackle where he does kind of fully announce himself, because, I mean, at the World Cup, because we all know what he's capable of. And I know it's probably not going to get many headlines, but I agree with you. I'm a little bit surprised that Joe McCarthy isn't involved. I just got the sense from, early on that they might have been trying to prime him for this game. Even I'm not necessarily saying to start him, but I think he could have possibly been on the bench. Maybe even with Ian Henderson, you have Ty Byrne to cover the back row, because I think Joe McCarthy has been playing really well. He's 120 kg. Look at what Ireland are up against. But look, Andy Farrell has proven it time and time again that he's we've no reason to doubt his selections. But I think Joe McCarthy could feel disappointed not to be involved.
Yeah, I think Henderson obviously has the experience, and he's one of Ian Henderson's greatest Ireland performances was in the Johnny Sexton drop goal game in Paris at this venue. You think about all the times he's played here, and I just wonder. I know you're writing about experience for Saturday's paper, that just at the end of the day, Joe McCarthy's only started two games for Ireland. It's very early in his career, and Henderson, while he doesn't have the same weight as McCarthy does, and Ty Byrne certainly doesn't have that sort of weight, for the way Ireland play, for the kind of occasion that this is going to be, maybe it came a little bit too soon for Joe McCarthy, and I think Farrell has earned that trust across it, but it must have been tempting for them to have him there. That's why I was going for a 6-2 split, because I think you could have them all there, and you'd have some bench to choose from. But that's probably where it's come down to.
Well, it didn't come too soon for Jack Crowley on the bench. Obviously, Ross Byrne got those 40 minutes last weekend against Tonga, but wow, what a show of faith this is in Crowley.
It really is, because if you consider if Johnny Sexton, touch wood, was to go down early, then it's a massive, massive stage. But look, I thought even again when he was up for media on Tuesday, was it just how composed and how confident I think he is in his own ability. It's not an arrogance, it's just assured, and everything that you hear about behind the scenes is that he's just come in and sponged up as much information as possible. I actually thought they would go with Ross Byrne. Personally, I think that, I was kind of writing about this, that if Johnny Sexton was injured, I think there's a good chance Ross Byrne starts, whereas Jack Crowley's on the bench because he does cover multiple positions. So, I mean, there's another guy who can feel really hard done by. We're talking about Joe McCarthy, Ross Byrne, I'm sure is...
Rob Herring.
Yeah, Rob Herring. He's extremely unlucky. But look, I suppose the point is that this is the strength, as Joe McCarthy just walks past us.
Looking a bit sad.
Looking a bit sad, yeah. This is the strength and depth that we're talking about, the quality of players that not only are on the bench but out of the 23 as well. Robbie Henshaw, to have a player like that to call upon is absolutely huge. So I'm optimistic by the quality of the team and what they have to call upon.
And you were asking Gary Ringrose as well about
we were about the defensive challenge. I suppose it's what Jack Crowley will face if and when he comes on, and he may have to come on early. We just don't know, and it's that blitz defence that South Africa present. The way they shoot up out of the line with Peter Steph-Faf de Klerk. Actually, Ron O'Gara did a brilliant interview at the breakdown that I was watching on the way out here, where he talked about you don't take that space, stay tight, stay narrow. But I just asked Gary what it's like to try and make decisions in the face of that pressure.
It's as I said, it's really tough, and it's not by chance that they get it. It's coached well, and they clearly train it well, and it's a nightmare for a lot of teams to play against. So what it feels like, sometimes you get blindsided and you don't see it, so the challenge maybe is to be scanning as much as possible and read body language and cues to be aware of it before it happens. But even at that, that's even hard to do. I think a big thing is the ball is going away from you, getting connected with your own players to hopefully try and make them make decisions. But then, as I said, there's so many good defenders in the team, they usually make the right decision. So there's a whole host of things you kind of need to get right. But like saying earlier, it's a huge threat, but hopefully it can be an opportunity if we're properly on it. Yeah.
So what about those kind of traps, as you say, that South Africa might set for Ireland?
Watching South Africa Scotland live and watching Finn Russell trying to beat the rush defence was a game within a game. It was fascinating, and they beat him down. They beat him up and they beat him down. It was, but in the first half they did manage that over the top line out that they went quick. They got it out to Darcy Graham. if Ireland do manage to do that, the space is there. It's just a matter of finding it and getting it there, and it's so hard, and there's so many traps, and they've got so many shooters, and they're big. Some of them are not big men. The ones who aren't big are really quick. So I think that's, like, we saw how Hugo Keenan delivered that pass in the build-up to Matt Hansen's try last Saturday. That's the kind of thing that Ireland, if they want to beat it, they have to do. You got to be brave. You got to deliver the pass late, and you got to get it away before Cheslin Colby's in your face. But what O'Gara was arguing is that you don't do that. You go off soft shoulders. You use those tight spaces that Ireland deploy, and that's a much better way of getting through it. Rather than going around them, go through them, and then the space will open up. It was a really interesting perspective on it.
They actually beat it several times last November, and I was mentioning this yesterday that I watched the game back, and they scored a couple of tries off it, but they also left several points behind them, and I think that was Scotland's biggest error, because they did beat the rush at that point, and Darcy Graham doesn't give the pass. So when you get in those opportunities, you have to be clinical. And Ireland, you think back to the opening 20 minutes of the game last week, the amount of waste that they had in terms of sloppy knock-ons, stupid penalties. You can't afford to do that against South Africa, because I think Ireland are so capable of getting a fast start. We've seen it so often over the years. And if they were to get a fast start, I think that's where you want to be. You don't want to be chasing the game against the Boks, because if they get an early lead, then they'll squeeze the absolute life out of you, and that will play right into their hands. So I think that's going to be a big focus for Ireland this week, is trying to get that fast start and get out ahead of them.
Okay, well, I see your rush defence and Rúaidhrí, the rush hour traffic in Paris, which we will now try and beat. We're going to be back out at the Stade de France tomorrow to do. But as Johnny said there as well, it's going to be, how many fans did he
over 30,000, they reckon.
30,000, and for him to be there, and with the majority of Irish support as well, as opposed to playing France there.
Well, usually it's the French fans that make the atmosphere there. So I don't think I've played a game here where we'll have the majority of the support. So to get 30,000, or rumoured to be 30,000 fans. But the support we get for World Cups in particular, it's incredible. Like last week in the stadium, it's just green everywhere. The week before, the same, and I'm sure it'll be the same again. So it's hats off to the people that put their hand in their pocket and come over. It means a lot to us, and we hope we give them something to cheer about. Yeah, like a top one on both sides of the ball, because their defence is obviously renowned for the line speed that they come at you with, so we need to be on top of our game when we have the ball. And then obviously the way they've been playing recently in terms of going wide and then being direct in certain areas of the field, and bringing a strong kicking game. So they test you in every facet of the game, and that's why they're world champions, and they're that's what we're going to have to be on top for.
The weather here is absolutely shocking. I mean,
but it's meant to get better, isn't it?
It is meant to get better, but I mean, Ireland will be hoping that it gets better, because I think if it's a day like today, then that plays right into South Africa's hands as well. So maybe for any Irish fans who are coming over, maybe just bring the jacket just in case.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's it from us. We'll be back again tomorrow. Thanks for listening.